As has often been observed, devils are usually other people's gods, and this is true of many of those listed by Weir and Lemegenton. Lemegenton? How do you say that? Some of them were originally gods of the Hebrews' neighbors or of the Canaanites, whose territory the Hebrews invaded and occupied, mentioned with rage and contempt in the Old Testament as rivals of Jehovah. They came to be regarded as diabolical powers. Do you ever read something and you're like, oh my goddess? Boom! Like that, it's so basic and something that you just like glossed over. Demons are really just gods of other religions that it's not your own. So we must demonize their gods. Make them bad. These are the things of evil. And I'm sure people had wars, and probably people from those other religions didn't do all the nice and happy things. But this makes me so interested, because I have mentioned before that I have a lovely spirit that I feel is a demon. And in the same sense, I'm also like, wait, so that means that that spirit I've been dealing with is actually a demon that is like just another god of like a forgotten religion or a god of something that I don't know? Have you been lying to me this whole time? It's something that like it lightens so much of the load, because even though I've expressed it openly in here and told my story about how I kind of came into contact with this entity that has appeared in my mind and things that I work with and deal with, I wanted to talk about this because you still have that Christian lens of your society and the pressures that come in with dealing with demons and dark energy and witchcraft in general. And I'm sitting here going like, well, is this bad? Is it not good? Should I not talk about it? Like, are people gonna think I'm like real weird? And of course, no matter what, anytime I talk about the dark stuff of the witchcraft, there's some weirdo that comes in here with their comments about how I need to be saved by Jesus Christ. And it's like, no, thank you. I'm good. I'm quite good. Quite comfortable in that. But on the other end, I always feel that weird negativity that gets steered towards working with my demon or working with other demons. Like it's something that's like, oh, maybe I should reach out to something else. But why do I still feel that negativity? Is because there's something inherently negative in them? Or is that something I'm putting on them? Is that something that I am casting onto them through my own perceptions as opposed to actually seeing them for what they are, which could be loving, helpful, old ass gods that were forgotten or demonized by the overarching religions over time. And now, because we don't have the other side of the story, we don't have their full tale of where their mythos and these things came from, we have lost the good and the benefits. You know, in researching Sobek, I am so intrigued by the fact that, hey, yeah, he was the god that was protected. He was a giver of life because he ruled over the Nile that was a giver of life for Egypt at the time. But he's also a huge protector, like the fierce, like, ferocity of a crocodile. Like, that is very clearly seen. And some of the Egyptians at the time demonized him, and some of them revered him. He was associated with pharaohs and the power and the military prowess and protection, while others were like, no, this is just an animalistic, instinctual god that acts without reason or any sort of thought. And it's so interesting how I am able to now research and see both sides of that, because people have taken an interest into the past of ancient Egyptian culture. But how many other gods didn't get that same treatment? How many other gods were gone through history? And like, what if we just got the negative side of Sobek? And I never heard about the benefits and the positives. I would most definitely be super freaked out even more if I was starting to look into crocodile gods and things and they're like, that's nothing but negative, that is nothing but a bad thing, this is a very ominous entity you are now working with. I would freak out even more. I would have pushed back even more. But because my research has led me to two sides of the story, I can see the duality. I can see the mix of what is going on between that story and that god. So what else is there? What other demons are misrepresented? What parts of their stories aren't told? Because it's all just a god that at the time someone else didn't want you to worship. Like hell, they even in this book, look up the Black Arts, like even if you don't agree with everything in it, it's got a lot of info. Go get this book. But like at some point it mentions the demoness Proserpina, which basically is Persephone, the ancient Greek goddess of the underworld. But no, underworld, bad. So goddess, bad. Demon, that's a demon. Stay away from that demon. What? No, it's an ancient Greek goddess. Like, because we now have archaeologists and historians who can look past, you know, just the religious look at things. We can see more of the stories, and we can hear the actual tales of the ancient gods and see that they're more than that. That it's not a demon trying to lure you away. But how many others got missed? I wonder about these names like Beelzebub and like these names that you hear and so much only in reference to the Christian Old Testament or within the Christian context of them. And I wonder, like, what were they from? What was missing? What part of their story was off or wrong? Like, I'm sure there was some tribe somewhere that was worshiping a deity that needed the sacrifice of everybody, and that was the only way we got good crops in the field, and they thought that that was going to work, and maybe they did that on a regular, and someone was like, that's to know. Like, there are bad cults, and if you're going to worship something, and if that's going to be in the embodiment of your cult, then yeah, ick. But so many other gods, as you've gone into them, are so multifaceted. They're so goods and bads, and they seem to have the entirety of a representation, which is more of like what a human and what everything is. You know, there's something can be lovable and terrifying at the same time. There's more duality in things. And so I find it fascinating that it never crossed my mind that, hey, what if a demon is just a god that got forgotten, whose story only got half told, who someone took and made evil just so you would turn away from that and not be interested and curious, and instead would go towards their all-knowing God to maintain power, in a sense. Like, it's something I'm really, really interested and curious more about. Like, I really want to go more into the history of, you know, I've been researching, of course, a bunch more about Persephone always, and Loki, and now I'm really diving into Sobek, but now I want to know about all these demons, and like, well, where did your myth start? Where did your story actually start? Where did it come from? Where did it first appear? And what came before that? What was the historical context of your appearance in the cultural consciousness, I guess? It's an interesting topic. Comment down below if you know anything about the histories. Let me know. Books to read. I will eat all of them up. All of the information. I need more. And if you also have these considerations, if you're wondering about times you're like, oh, going to the old pagan gods, like, it's evil, it's wrong, it's blah. Well, yeah, if you turn Persephone into some, like, demoness thing with none of her good qualities, like, yeah, no, you take away all the other stuff, then, and you just explain to someone who doesn't know any better, yeah, they would be a little bit suspect. They'd be like, yeah, don't work with that. That's not true. It's only half of her story. Hell, even what we have now is only so much minimal of her story. We've lost so much to the histories of time, so God only knows what's actually missing from the knowledge base. Anyway, I make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Come like me and follow me on all the socials if you want even more of this lovely babble and entertainment. And I will see you guys next time.